I'm Ted Keys, your host and top freight agent training expert here in Southern California. This topic comes from my 30 plus years of business, sales, and freight moving success. Watch, learn, and apply it. You'll move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, and make more money financially. And call me at 626-309-9141 with any questions. Now explode your business with...
Hello and welcome to my Tuesday conference call, everybody. Ted Keys, your host here, your top freight agent training expert here in Southern California. Today, I'll show you how to move more freight efficiently, effectively, and effortlessly so you make more money financially. And after the call today, go to my website, tedkeysonline.com, to hear more of my podcasts, read more of my blog posts, watch more of my videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your business today. And if you have any questions today, any questions regardless of what it is, or specifically, are you ready for my top producing one-on-one personal freight sales, freight broker training? Then give me a call, Ted Keys. I'm at 626-309-9141. Today's training topic is your best freight sales agent negotiating skills. Again, that's your best freight sales negotiating skills. For those of you that are on my contact list, you're already an agent with our office, just scroll down to any one of those email invites that I sent you today. And lo and behold, we are going to go over those free attachments that I have provided for today's call. So, just moving on, telling you about the best freight sales agent negotiating skills. If there's one skill that you have to get good at, it's the skill of negotiation. Now, that's required for any type of business application, especially in sales, because your price is predominantly determined by what you negotiate on it. However, I'm going to go over, I believe it's 8 necessary skills that are required to make your best negotiations. So again, just scroll down to any one of those, to those contacts, to any one of those email invites that I sent you today, and go ahead and open up that first attachment, and we'll just go ahead and get into our call here, which is your best freight sales agent negotiating skills. Now, a Google search for the term negotiation reveals a stunning 131 million results. Again, that's 131 million results. Just type in negotiation and that's what you're going to get. Now, what does that mean? Well, thousands of books. What that means is thousands of books have been written on the topic, with countless more other online articles, guides, and blog posts which are available for your use. There's that much information on the internet that talks about negotiation, and that's a good thing because it's required. Negotiation skills are required for you to be successful in this profession. That's because basic negotiating can be challenging, all right? It can be challenging, but only if you believe that it is. It's only challenging if you believe that it is. Now, the stakes are high when you're attempting to get something you desire, and freight sales negotiations are especially high. They're especially high because they involve repercussions. What are repercussions? Well, repercussions are things such as missed pickups, deliveries, appointments, and detention. Those are all repercussions that come into your negotiating after you've done the initial negotiation. But negotiating doesn't have to be challenging. Again, negotiating does not have to be challenging. The best freight sales negotiators, they all stick to tried and true set of best practices that ensure they achieve an ideal outcome more often than not. So what are you going to do? Go ahead and incorporate these skills into your freight sales routines, and you'll move more freight with your freight customers and your carriers, believe it or not. So the first great skill that you require to improve your negotiating is don't view freight negotiation as a battle. Let me say that again. Skill number one, don't view freight negotiations as a battle, as I just talked about earlier. Negotiation is often treated, unfortunately, it's often treated as a zero-sum game with the goal to actually beat your opponents. Unfortunately, that's the mindset. However, in reality, negotiation, it's not a sports game at all with a win or lose outcome. The best freight sales negotiators know that there's a way to achieve what all the parties want. And that is freight sales agents who excel at negotiations approach each discussion that they get into, each negotiation that they get into, as a way to achieve a mutually beneficial goal. Again, that's a goal between all parties. Remember, freight sales agents, we negotiate with our customers and we also negotiate with our carriers. So it's a mutually agreeable goal that you're searching for, that you're attempting to get. So for them, for us freight sales agents, it's our goal is to close the deal. That's our main goal. For our freight customers, it's what they're going to pay us for our freight service and for what they receive for that service. For the carrier, it's what they earn. It's what they're going to actually earn for moving the freight, and will that load lead to more future transactions? Those are the three goals that all three parties consider when they get involved in a negotiation. So the shift in mindset, guys, is the utmost of important. It's so important that you view it in this manner. Approaching each negotiation as a battle, as I talked about earlier, gets you in a combative mentality that puts you at odds continually with your valued customers that you require and your valued carriers that you require, which trickles down into every interaction that you have with them. All right? So when you keep things as positive as possible, you'll keep all of your conversations positive. So the first skill that you require is don't view negotiation or freight negotiation as a battle. That's skill number one. Skill number two, very important, is when you get these, you have to realize, is it an objection or is it a request for information? Again, when you hit these little roadblocks, is it an objection you're getting or is it a request for information? That's skill number two that you have to overcome and get better and better at. Now, not being able to distinguish the two can and will be disastrous. That's plain and simple. That goes without saying. If you're ignoring the difference and forging on, again, the difference between those two, if you ignore them and you just forge on like they're no big deal, or your reaction to a request for information is to get defensive, then things for you will go south very, very quickly. You'll lose your credibility and risk angering all parties that are involved in the process. So the best freight sales negotiators, again, the best ones, they understand when freight customers and their carriers object to something. All right, they object to something because they haven't fully brought it in. That could be a request for information, all right, or because it could really halt the sales process, and that's a blocker. Then respond to each misunderstanding accordingly and solve the issue. So the second skill you require to become a fantastic negotiator is know the difference between an objection or just a request for information. Again, an objection, somebody's objecting to what you're telling them, all right? They're, the blocks have put on. Instead of just a request for information such as, hey, where does this load pick up again? Or as simple as, what's the pickup zip code? That's a request for information, okay? So skill number two is know the difference between an objection and a request for information. Skill number three is to know your customers and your carriers' unknowns. Negotiating skill number three, very important, know your customers and your carriers' unknowns, all right? Well, what does that mean? Well, basically it's know the enemies of each negotiation that you get involved. What is an enemy? Well, In most sales situations, your enemies typically boil down to uncertainty. There are many facts and there's many issues that go into a load that you may not be certain of. And that is uncertainty, and that is one of the enemies that can or work against you as you get into the negotiations. So while freight customers and carriers are not your enemies, all right, you may still be at a severe disadvantage if you don't know the ins and outs of their business, all right, of their business and how they operate, all right. That's an uncertainty when you get into a load, all right, and you don't know how your customers and your carriers operate. So before you actually enter into a freight negotiation, just ask yourself this question: what will my customer and my carrier go for? Where will they push back? And what are the areas of potential confusion or concern? Those are 3 questions to ask yourself. Again, let me just explain them again. Let me say them again. What will my customer or my carrier go for? Again, typically that's price, all right? Typically your customer and carrier is always concerned about price. Where will they push back, all right? And what are the areas of potential confusion or concern? So those are unknown enemies. Those are areas of uncertainty that you have to understand and you have to be aware of going into a freight negotiation. So remember, guys, each freight lane that you move is different. That is one of the most important things that you have to understand. If you just covered a load, you picked it up and moved it from, say, I don't know, Florida to Milwaukee, that is one of the most, easiest loads that you can cover. However, on the flip side, if you've got a load going from Milwaukee down to somewhere in Florida, say Tampa, that's going to be one of the most challenging loads that you cover. So that's just an example. Remember, each freight lane that you do or move is different, alrighty? By anticipating those differences, and again, you're not going to see those differences until you actually move the lanes, but you're better equipping yourself to address the concerns of both the customer and the carrier when you make yourself known of those uncertainties, so you can, so you know what the customer's looking for, so you know what the carrier's looking for. Then once you know those uncertainties, you're going to appear more impressive to both parties by knowing what they care about before they verbally tell you. So the third skill that you require to become a top-notch negotiator is to know your customers and your carriers' unknowns. When you know those, you're just going to be that much better in the game or in the process and the skill of negotiating. Fourth skill that's required, okay, to become a top-notch negotiator, to become a better negotiator, is to make sure that there are no hidden surprises. Make sure there are no hidden surprises. The worst thing you can do in a freight sales negotiation, short of being rude, is to be unprepared. Part of this is preparing for objections, all right? However, keeping a negotiation free of any hidden surprises is key as well to make sure you're starting on the same page. Knowing how many picks and drops, for example, along with accurate loading times is a great place to start. Alrighty? Hang tight, folks. The best freight sales negotiators know the ins and outs of their freight customers' purchasing mechanics. Now, are you going to know this from the get-go? No, you are not. But the best ones know this over time and through experience. So when both parties go to their emails, all right, this is when the negotiating process starts. Emails, mainly with you and your customer, or the phone, that's typically with your carrier, to negotiate freight rates, everything on the table. Everything is on the table and nothing is hiding in the creases. Let me give you a couple examples of hidden surprises. A lot of the loads that I do require scale tickets. They require my carrier to scale empty before he picks up a load and then to scale heavy after he gets the load picked up. What basically happens is the receiver will then ask him for those scale tickets when he gets to the receiver. Now, a hidden surprise would be if I didn't tell him the requirement for the scale tickets and he showed up at the receiver and the receiver says, hey, where are your scale tickets? And what's the carrier going to do? The carrier is going to come back to me and say, hey, you never told me, Ted, about these scale tickets. See, that's a hidden surprise. That's a hidden surprise. Missed or dropped appointments or, required appointments. That's a hidden surprise where the carrier is required to make a pickup or a delivery appointment. Here's another example. I have loads moving right now from Philadelphia down to Houston. Well, this particular shipper is in an old part of Philadelphia, and their shipping dock is basically on this one-way street. And if the truck doesn't get there by 7 a.m., all the folks coming to work are going to park on this street. So a hidden surprise is if I didn't tell the carriers, hey, look, you have to be at the shipper by 7 a.m. Because if I don't tell them, then they're going to show up at 9 or some other time, and lo and behold, all these cars will be parked on this one-way street, and their truck will never be able to get down this street to where their loading dock is located. So that's a hidden surprise. So skill number 4, I'm glad I was able to give you those examples, but skill number 4 is make sure there are no hidden surprises. Make sure you throw that all on the table when you're negotiating with your carrier so everybody knows of what's actually required of them. Skill number 5 to become a top-notch negotiator is know your freight customers and goals. Let me say that again. Know what your freight customers and goals are. What does that mean? Well, the best way to ensure the best customer for you and your freight, the best way to ensure the best outcome for you and your freight customer is to know what they desire with the freight rates that you're charging. All right? It's the only way you can gauge whether what you're presenting is relevant and shape your message to speak to what your customer truly cares about. In just wrapping up with this one here, skill number 5, knowing what they require and desire allows you, again, it allows you to prioritize what you emphasize during your freight negotiations with them. You can also anticipate what your prospect will walk away from or stick to. So skill number 5, again, skill number 5 is know your freight customers and goals. What are they actually attempting to accomplish here? Is the pickup more important? Is the transit more important? Is the receiver, the delivery more important? Is the price more important? Figure out what their end goals are from the get-go. All right. Skill number 6 to become a top-notch negotiator is don't use underhanded or hard closing tactics. First of all, your carriers, your shipper's not going to use you again anyway if you use this stuff, but just in explaining the idea that freight prospects and customers must be hard closed or tricked into using your freight service is not only outdated at best, it's dangerous at worst. There are so many other companies that your prospects and your carriers can utilize instead of you. You are just one of a number of fish bowls, one in the fishbowl that's out there. So always be upfront and honest during your freight negotiations and don't resort to sneaky tactics to get their business. Don't resort to sneaky tactics. Don't lie, okay, just to say that you can do something when you know you can't. If it's a truly good fit, you won't have to utilize anything else. If it's a truly good fit, it's going to work well for all parties. So skill number 6 is don't use underhanded or hard closing tricks. Skill number 7, hold on folks. Skill number 7 to become a top-notch negotiator is to know when to read between the lines. Skill number 7 is to know when to read between the lines. Well, what does that mean, Ted? Well, whether you're negotiating in person or over the phone, which is what most of us do on the phone, or via email, you've got to understand what's not being said as well as what's being said, whether it's a suspicious change in voice tone or a shift in your freight prospect's body language, the best freight sales negotiators are always searching for changes in behavior that could indicate the freight negotiation is going well or poorly. Let me give you an example of reading between the lines. Say you're negotiating with a carrier. You've been given a load by your customer. You're negotiating with a carrier, all right? And you find out that you're not set up with this particular carrier. But the carrier makes it look like, yeah, we're going to get this. We're going to do it for that price. We'll pick up at 1 o'clock. We'll get everything done for you, Ted. Okay, well, you find out that you're not set up with that carrier, and you go ahead and send them your company's carrier packet. Well, here's a way of reading between the lines. If after, say, 30 minutes, your corporate office does not receive any type of information back from the carrier packet, there's a high probability that this carrier is not going to do the load for you. Again, read between the lines, all right? And you call them and they're not even answering the phone, again, read between the lines. Now, I'm not picking on carriers, but this is just an example. Or your customer asks you for a freight rate, all right? You go ahead and get a freight rate, and then you continue to call your customer back or email them to say, hey, I got a rate for you. Not only that, but I have a truck for you. And your customer keeps blowing you off. They don't respond to your phone calls. They don't respond to your emails. Well, again, read between the lines. Your customer had something else in mind. That's why they're not responding to you. So again, know when to read between the lines and not to continue to pursue something. So that's skill number 7. Skill number 8, all right? Skill number 8 is know when to walk away. Know when to walk away. And there are times, in fact, there are many times when we should walk away. But what do I mean by that? Well, do you ever negotiate freight rates that are bad for business, such as deep discounts or long payment terms, all right? If you're guilty of this, then you're building an unstable book of business that will never pay dividends for you or your freight brokerage. Alrighty? Skilled freight sales negotiations know where their bottom line ends. If the terms cross it, they know that it's much better to walk away than to keep fighting for the scraps and the crumbs. Again, let me give you another couple examples. And that is, you're going to have companies, you're going to have customers that you've built great relationships with, and they're going to ask you for a rate. You're going to give them the rate, and they're going to give you the load. Now, every time, no. And provided your rate is reasonable, they're just going to continue doing that. Now, that's a situation where you don't walk away. But a situation where you do walk away is where your customer is always attempting to get your price lower and lower and lower. There's got to be a point where you stop you've got to have a basement on what you're going to accept as a freight rate, all right? And if your customer attempts to go below that, you've got to say, that is my best rate. I mean, will that work? Will that work for you? Say they want to get you down another $50. You've got to know when to walk away, which is skill number 8. Know when to walk away. You're going to have many different situations like this where, plain and simple, you have to walk away. And my question to you is, do you want the crumbs and the scraps, or do you want to keep pursuing other customers and future prospects that will pay you what you're worth? That's only a question that you can answer, but skill number 8 is to know when to walk away. So, just in review, your best freight sales agent negotiation skills. Skill number 1, don't view freight negotiations as a battle. Don't view it as a battle. Skill number 2, what you're getting. Is it an objection or a request for information? That's my question to you. Are you getting objections, or is it just a request for information? Skill number 3, know your customers and your carrier's unknowns. Basically, know their business. Skill number 4, Make sure there are no hidden surprises as you negotiate with your carriers and your customers. Skill number 5, know your freight customers and goals. What are they attempting to accomplish with each goal that you move for them? Skill number 6. Skill number 6 is don't use underhanded or hard closing tricks or tactics. Skill number 7, all right, is to know when to read between the lines. And skill number 8 is know when to walk away. Great skills for you to start improving on, start developing today, so that when you do, you become an outstanding freight sales agent, plain and simple. Great topic for today, guys. And that topic, again, I went over your best freight sales agent negotiating skills. Take these skills, apply them to your skill set, and you'll become a better and better freight sales agent. In wrapping up my call today, guys, just in wrapping up, my question to you is this: do you want to receive those free attachments? Again, do you want to receive those free attachments that I talk about on each and every call? Then go to my website, any one of the web pages there off to the right, enter your contact details. By doing that, you'll receive your weekly email invite to this and every call. Also, do you have any questions about what I went over today? Or more specifically, more importantly, are you ready to join our top producing freight sales team? I am not a trainer. I am a trainer, but I am also a freight mover. You're getting experience from somebody that actually moves freight as well. There are many freight broker and freight agent trainers out there in the marketplace that do not move freight. I'll tell you this, I move freight as well. If I didn't, I would not be able to train you to the highest standards that I do. But my question to you is this: are you ready to join our top producing freight sales team? Then give me a call. Yes, my name is Ted Keys. My contact number is 626-309-9141. Great talking to you today, guys, on a most important topic: your best freight sales agent negotiating skills. I'll see you all again next week, same time, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time on my Tuesday conference call. Take care. God bless. I'll see you all again next week. Bye-bye. When you arrive at my Freight Sales Success Store today, you'll see a host of products available there for purchase. First one you'll see available is my flagship product. That is my Freight Sales Success Guide, typically for beginner and struggling freight agents. If you're searching for that daily motivation to set goals, to achieve them, to pick up the phone daily and connect and build relationships with the marketplace, then opt for my Freight Sales Success Quotes. And if you're searching for those specific skills, and there are many skills, many individual skills required to be successful in this profession, then opt for my Freight Sales Success Skill. I highly recommend each one of these products, available for purchase today in my Freight Sales Success Store. Do you have any questions again? Do you have any questions about today's call? Or more importantly, are you ready for my top producing one-on-one personal freight sales, freight broker training? Then give me, Ted Keys, a call. I'm at 626-309-9141. Great topic for today. Take these skills, apply them. You'll be amazed at what happens to your results.